That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it kept the time, which is weird.
Hello and welcome to the WHISKIEE Podcast, the show where you watch two grown-ass adults spin back and forth on their chair while talking about adulting, parenting, life, games, and of course, whiskey.
And of course, whiskey. Because whiskey.
Yes. And here we are with episode 30. And I am your host, Chudata.
And I am Nate Fu.
And yeah, we're coming to you a bit later than normal.
Yeah, I think
for our Saturday recording. We had some assistance.
Yes, we'd planned to do this at 1 just because life appointments got ahead of us. And it was like, well, we can't go noon. Let's see if we can do 1. Mm-hmm. And then children happened.
Yep. So giving you a heads up, if the audio is all messed up, you could thank the 4-year-old and the 1-year-old.
I actually did successfully capture good video of them just, ooh, look at the pretty buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Muting, sliding sliders. Thankfully, they didn't get into the touchpad. And
that we know of.
Yeah, no, the touchscreen, I would have noticed that.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
It's not a button. They don't want to mess with it. But knob sliders and...
Mm-hmm. And they light up.
Yes.
So for those of you wondering, yes, the Rodecaster is exceptionally durable.
Very durable.
We should make sure we cut that into our review later on.
Mm-hmm.
So
we should also cut into the review. And if any, by the time this comes out, the other one will already be out. We're late getting that episode to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had to do some editing, some creative editing with the last episode, because apparently the Gandalf sax theme is
actually a copyrighted song.
A copyright infringement for the less than 20 seconds that we used as an example. So note to self.
Yes. Nate Fu DMCA'd us. Good job, Nate.
Yeah, well.
All right, before we jump in, what are we drinking?
We are drinking a Lost Distillery Towiemore. And you would pick this one out based off of...
I did. Randomly seeing it at the store. But what I like about these guys, the Lost Distillery group, is they've been going through and, basically there's hundreds of distilleries that have gone out of business over the last century.
Right.
For various political and financial reasons, whatever. But there's still scotch around and whiskey. So they've been going around and saving some of those barrels and, releasing them under their label.
Right. Or rejiggering and brewing in the same style, or distilling in the same style with the region ingredients. And yeah,
exactly.
This one, I guess, is the Towiemore Distillery went out of business in 1931 because of issues with power supplies. Water supplies. I'll be editing that one out as well. And it's a peach vanilla almond cream, and yeah, it tastes it.
Yeah, and for about $35-$40 for the bottle, it's pretty damn good. Nice and smooth, no harsh aftertaste.
It's a Speyside blend. It's it's everything you'd expect to get out of a Speyside.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that real heavy smoke note.
Yeah, I love the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a huge portion for me because. There's probably so much out there that's just been lost to time.
Right.
Because of, economic reasons and whatever. But
it's not that it's
good whiskey.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad.
Yeah.
Bad stuff. It's just for whatever reason it wasn't
accessible.
Feasible. Right.
So props to that.
Yep.
We've got the Lost Spirits, Lost Distillery. We're a fan of the the Lost movement, I guess we'll call it.
Right. Yeah. We did a Lost Spirits one, or have we not reviewed that on?
We have not reviewed it.
Okay.
The Lost Spirits is amazing, and we will have to do their new extended tour.
Definitely. That was another interesting one.
They're actually opening one in Vegas.
Yes.
So
Which makes sense.
Yes. So Lost Spirits, since we're transitioning to that, is a distillery that basically can manipulate whiskeys, rums. What else did they have? That's pretty much the two
Whiskeys, rums, and bourbons.
And bourbons. And
Or
through
they had a brandy
sciencing
as
it
well.
up,
Yeah.
Through sciencing it up, they can, take something in 7 days and make it taste like it's been aging for 20 years.
Right.
And, it's a
according to science, according to a mass chrome spectrometer.
And it's pretty damn good.
It is pretty damn good.
But, being that they are complete and utter nerds, which we love them for, they basically Willy Wonka'd up their distillery.
Mm-hmm.
And we're giving tours for a while pre-COVID. And since then, their tour goes through their current distillery, then to an off-site location, and then back.
Mm-hmm. And it's an experience. Like you, at one point in time, you get on a boat, and you travel by water to another part of the facility.
Yep.
And you do tastings all along the way. It's not just your typical walk in. Here's your scotch. Here's a quick story on it. They actually make a whole production about it. They're a bunch of theater nerds, and we love it.
Yep,
we're here for it.
And now they're in Vegas. So
and now they're in Vegas, so you can imagine what that one's going to look like.
Yeah. So
I wonder if they're actually going to be distilling there, or if it's just going to be a tasting house.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out and go visit.
Definitely.
We'll call that site research. But you all right there, Grandpa?
No, Daddy's hurting today. I don't know what I did, but
Snap, crackle, pop.
I wrecked my left arm. It's the shoulder. This muscle. This hurts right now, which is very bad for my.
But I see the sacrifice
habit.
You're willing to make.
No, switch to right hand. Yeah, it makes for awkward drinking when you're used to going around the microphone. But yeah, no, I tore that up. I'm still not quite sure how. It's probably a combination between yeeting children and the awkward work that we're doing.
Well, that's right. We spent quite a bit of time yeeting your oldest.
Yeah. Oh, the youngest now is a big fan of getting yeeted. Mm-hmm. But yeah, chucking the oldest into the pool. She is.
Oldest is quite the swimmer now, and
she's crazy.
We follow up with the threats of, if you splash us, we're going to throw you. So she splashes us, and we throw her into the deep end, and she, laughs hysterically as she swims back and splashes us again.
Mm-hmm. Unless you accidentally belly flop her, which we've both done.
Yeah,
on a couple of occasions.
Well,
I remember the first time I threw her in the pool, it was like, okay, here we go. We're going extra high. And she immediately splays out and comes down on her belly. And it's like, don't do that. Yeah. We're going to go again. Splayed out again when it came straight down on her belly. I'm just like.
It very much is like a Looney Tune-esque thing. Mm-hmm. Like I expect there to be an imprint of her body going through the, floor or something as that happens. So yeah, kids are back at daycare.
Yep. Have been.
This is what, week 2 for them?
Something like that, yeah. 2 or maybe 3, because I know they were going in even before.
Yeah, so maybe this is week 3.
This is week 3.
Yeah, so that's been an interesting adjustment.
For whom? For you?
Yeah. Well, no, it's quiet.
Yeah,
everyone's not home, and then
we talked about that last episode of I'm infinitely jealous that you actually get a nice, quiet, empty house now.
Right, you get a couple hours quiet.
And I've been enjoying that. I'm actually going to have a lot more quiet time coming up.
Yeah, you're switching things up, aren't you?
Yeah, not by choice, but next weekend. If you're watching this live, because how much I get annoyed with you about dating things, and here I go dating things. But next weekend, I will be in Seattle for PAX West. I think we had mentioned, GMH will be on the 4th floor in the Diversity Lounge. So anybody that wants to come and shake my hand, or, buy me a drink later. Hit me up. I'll be around.
He's all for people buying him drinks.
But when I come back from that Tuesday, I'm switching officially over to the graveyard shift for the next 10.
So you land back on Tuesday.
I land back on Tuesday and go into work.
Shit, man.
Yep. That's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm on that graveyard shift for the next 10 weeks after that. Basically going through Veterans Day. Fun. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's going to be an experience, and apparently, there's been enough onus on the company at this point with the projects that I'm working on that I'm starting to get a lot of side conversations and instructional requests on my own personal phone. Oh, so I actually yesterday had my boss submit a ticket to our IT department to have me get a company issued phone because I'm over getting phone calls at 7:00 at night from people, and then there's no paper trail at all. Yeah, and then the excuse is, well, we can't get you via email because you never check it. Well, I don't have an office. I don't have a dedicated computer. I have a laptop that occasionally, if I find a place to set it up, sit down, and hopefully the Wi-Fi works, I can check my email. So, yes, I'll be getting a company phone. Great. Lucky you. Yeah. But, I will let them know that will be getting turned off and left in my locker at work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't need to take the work home with me. And
well, they pay you hourly. And they do pay me hourly. Pay you for the time that you answered not at work. So
yeah, and this is where it's going to get fun because the shift I'm working, the graveyard shift, they're all at home sleeping. Mm-hmm. When I'm at home supposed to be sleeping, they're all going to be working and then asking questions. Yep. So guess whose phone is going to be blowing up?
Nope, you mute that.
Yeah, it's exactly.
You got to set that boundary because otherwise they will take advantage of it.
Oh, they're already starting to, which is why I said, nope, company phone. You can stop getting a hold of me on this one. You can get a hold of me there, and it will be off during hours, and I will set up an auto reply.
100% got to do that. I mean, especially if you are now sacrificing your time during the day with your family. Right. To be able to go to work at night based on their needs. You can't sacrifice what little quality of life you do have left and go from there. Yes. Trying to play footsies with me?
No, trying to keep you from rocking.
Hey, you're doing it also. Well, sit down and you're rocking the boat.
After we get off the episode tonight, I actually will be going to another Dodger game on the company dime because that is their low effort way of, tossing us a bone without, actually compensating us or, giving us cash payouts that would then have to be taxed. So, I get the company seats to the Dodger game again tonight.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
So, which means I get your kids, huh?
Your Grammy does.
Which means I get your kids then, huh?
No, you get to sit in the office and...
hide in the fetal position?
Hide in the fetal position, yeah. And hopefully they don't come in here and metaphorically and physically push your buttons.
Yeah, well... So under the desk now, I've got your old, or your wife's old pedal, desk peddler bike thing. And your youngest will come into the office while I'm sitting here and put my feet on it and then push my feet to make it pedal. I'm not allowed to use my own force to do it. My feet have to be on it, but she has to be powering my legs in order to do it. Because, that's what game we're playing at the moment.
But you're logging those miles into Hero Trainer, right?
Hero Trainer's only steps. So it doesn't count, I'm afraid. Hero Trainer is a great app for those of you that are looking to, gamify their experience. You could sync your step counter to it. Right. And rewards include, you're able to buy gift cards for Steam, Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, Blizzard, number of other different, places like that. And it's a sole guy who's putting it together and, funding it through advertising. So props to him and definitely going to shout out to it. I guess, when you write these notes, remind me to put a link to it.
Of course. We'll put a link to the app or whatnot. It's Android and iPhone?
Yes, Android and iPhone.
Nice.
So, and constantly developing.
Have they fixed the issue where certain Samsung devices don't actually log to it properly? Because that was the one
No, because
problem.
that's a Samsung thing.
That's a proprietary stack thing?
Yep.
Fun.
Because Samsung watches and Samsung Health and Google Health don't talk to one another.
That's a shame.
And that's because, Samsung had to create their own environment and their own ecosystem. And Google said, yeah, sure, why not? As long as you buy our system.
Right.
So there's a 99-cent workaround for it. But otherwise, it's fine.
Right.
And how rarely I walk around. I don't even wear my watch anymore these days.
Right. It's all on the phone.
Yeah. So.
Which sits on your desk.
Yep. Which I go for walks and forget to bring it with me. So there's that.
All the trips to the commode, those don't count. Those add up,
I know they do. And sometimes, when you got to go and got to be on those phone calls, pacing around the house, that adds up.
Oh, man. So, yeah, we got good scotch, baseball games, working.
What else with the kids? Something happened. They were like, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They're too much. They go to this daycare together like a week and they come back and they're like twice the age as far as intellectual and capabilities. My daughter is, holds a pencil correctly at 18 months and is drawing and writing with her, with the big kids at daycare. Because
is she writing poop on the ground yet?
She isn't. Your daughter's the only one so far who is accurately writing out poop on the floor.
She cracks me up.
So we've got that going on.
Yeah, I will say the whole My Gym experience has been definitely something I would recommend.
Yeah. It's a slight cost, but the value is extraordinary.
Right.
And we're not affiliated. This is not an ad. This is legit. Like, our opinions as dad that this is worth it.
Yeah, we pay into it as well. There's a socialization that takes place during play that at that age they're not getting through any sort of schooling or daycare.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they may be getting it through our daycare, but
right.
It's
not just socialization. It's understanding how to, play independently and how to play as a group.
And it's more fitness minded. It's not just go and play dodgeball. It's learn like they do basically kid yoga.
Yeah. And they do climbing and they learn how to roll and they learn how to, protect themselves and that sort of thing.
Yeah. We did springboards onto platforms and then jump off into mats, which Charlotte was all about today. She was like, wait, I have to jump off of something that's 2.5 feet tall. Whoop, gone. No fear.
Nice.
So.
What else? What else we got?
Well, we do have... we've got nothing on Bungie Activision, or not Bungie, Blizzard Activision.
Yeah. We're going to stay away from that one.
Yeah. Well, nothing's really come of it.
No, recently there was a expansion, like the state of California expanded the lawsuit because there's a lot of, they believe that Blizzard was trying to silence people, Blizzard and Activision, and so they didn't get all the information. But B, they're expanding it to include contractors and subcontractors and
which makes
independent
sense.
people, which weren't originally identified and qualified as part of the
company.
Suit.
Yeah, they weren't part of the company, so they should not therefore count. Which they should because you contracted them. But yeah, like news from that has been very slow and. I
mean, Blizzard, at least I've not seen the Activision side, but Blizzard is legitimately, I think, trying to do something with it. They've fired some of the key people that were identified that had the history of it.
Right.
In real time. They're even changing a character that was named after one of them.
McCree, right?
McCree, yeah. So they are taking steps, but a lot of it seems lip service, and that's kind of the way the reaction so far. So we'll see if there's any fundamental changes with it.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the nature of it being every other week, the OnlyFans news became no news as soon as it became news. So,
yep.
Good on OnlyFans.
They stayed the decision to not decide or something like that.
No, they secured new financing partners. So now they can take payments again, which was supposedly the reason that they were taking all of the adult content off the site, because the payment processing centers were just like, nope, we don't want to be anything involved in anything that could be considered pornographic, which that's an interesting stance to take, because, considering you have no problem taking money for purchases of said materials in, physical realms or other online spaces. So.
Right. Well, and it's, again, that all comes down to the value associated with different things. The fact that, with OnlyFans rose to popularity and capability because it provided a
secondary income.
Not even just secondary, but a avenue for, sex workers and for, individuals to take ownership of themselves and profit off of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of them were already profiting off of it, but again, it's just like you were putting yourself into inherently dangerous work, and now you can do it safely behind your screen, where consent is only what you allow. Like, someone could badger you all they want in their chat, but they can't physically force you to do something against your will.
Right.
Payments are already processed at the time, so you don't have someone skipping out on a bill or like it. That's, there you go. This is the old peep show, in a modern format.
Right. And what's interesting to me about it is that sex work is the oldest profession in the history of humanity. And in many countries, entire continents.
Hi, Richie.
Many continents, this isn't an issue. This is something that is, a purely American create drama around it as a means of trying to control different populations.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, but yeah, the puritanical nature.
Yes.
That carried in with, I guess, that carried over from Britain, that came into the United States, that we were like, we're trying to get away from that, but we still want to have control over certain things.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think it's a good decision overall. I'm glad there's an environment for it.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in it or follow it, good for you. You don't have to be involved.
Right. And again, it's not like it's being shoved in your face. It's not like between every other YouTube video, you're actually getting bombarded with this kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's there. I mean, everybody also knows other, certain,
I keep getting Twitter
hubs and
announcements from people I've never met before.
Yeah, hubs and news sites exist that if you want to get that sort of content, they're there.
Yeah.
So,
and to tie it back into the theme, since Richie's pointing it out in chat, we are talking about sex, and that's where babies come from, and that's how we became dads. So, full circle.
No, it's actually been Richie. It's been an ongoing topic, both online, offline, with the all of the different ventures that we do. Because again, there's a side of that with mental health that needs to be considered. There's obviously the game side of it.
Which objectifies and
which objectifies and has been exploitative for years.
Plus, your side gig is Mad Park IT,
right?
Yeah, for the extra $50, you'll take your shirt off and do push-ups. So, I mean, sex sells.
It does. Right. We've been talking about that with the He-Man remake, right? That came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, great, we're trying to push more toy sales." And it's like, "Oh, maybe," but again, I don't know if you've watched it's either I think it's a Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us.
No,
it might be a Hulu series. It goes through and talks about that, and of course, one of the episodes they do is Barbie. But then they followed up with an episode on the boys' toys. and how that also created that same sort of body insecurity. Because, a lot of us guys are a little wafy, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm never going to hit the gym. And then you see the children that came out of that generation and all the rampant steroid abuse. Right.
Well, rampant steroid abuse, the toxicity that was a part of it. A lot of those stigmas were cultural stigmas that were set in place and marketed and sold to and taken advantage of.
Right.
So.
But yeah, so sex sells.
Uh-huh.
On both ends of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was like, that news cycle happened so fast within the 2 weeks. I was like, oh, OnlyFans is banning porn. And I've made notations down for our podcast, the other podcast I do. Mm-hmm. And just in, what was it, 4 days, 5 days? It's like, nothing to see here.
Psych, JK.
Yeah.
But that also says something, I think, more of the public ability to rally and make an impact, which I like, but also, for my kids,
we have daughters.
We have daughters, and whatever they decide to do, I want them to be able to do it safely and smartly.
Right.
Whatever that means in life. Do I ever want to come across one of them on this site? Personally, no. But if that's their choice, I'm going to support them.
Honestly, I'd rather have them do it on a site than do it in the street.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
I don't want to be on the site and see that, because that's awkward.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. But yeah, there's the running joke is daddies have one job, is to keep their daughters off the polls. Right. And
we're bringing our girls to the polls. And, they'll be working in the House and the Senate.
Oh, my God. You knew that was coming.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no.
That's for Mama Bear and Lady Foo.
Yeah. Again, 2 episodes ago, mom, raised by a stripper. Yeah, it got weird. It's always been weird. But yeah, no, mom was a stripper. So again, I came up with a whole different mindset on it, that what she did was a job. Mm-hmm. Right? It wasn't this weird taboo thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if my daughters, if that's what they want to choose to do, again, I'd rather have them do it in the most safest possible way. And if that means it's on OnlyFans, great. I just, I had the same rule for my mom that I'm going to have for my daughters. Don't let me catch you. Don't let me see you doing it.
Yep. Well, you know what? I know plenty of girls that have worked their way through medical school and law school and things like that.
Yeah, not a damn thing wrong with it.
So that being said, transitioning to other work environment type stuff, I happen to, recently I made the decision, especially with the fact the team was looking at going to Vegas for a convention back at the beginning of August, that I was not going to go in for August and September to the office. And well, one of my coworkers just announced this past week that she caught COVID.
And she's vaccinated.
She is vaccinated, which is the only reason that it's not extreme, thankfully. But it's like, well, this is the situation we're in. And had I been in, it would have exposed everyone.
Right.
In this household to it. And that's not a risk I'm willing to take. And the company is 100% behind that right now. Mm-hmm. And so more and more, I'm seeing a lot of companies, especially larger companies, realizing that this might be a modus apparatus moving forward.
Oh yeah, we already basically on the outset of the Delta variant being discovered, we went back to full mask mandates indoors and reinstated social distancing rules. We don't do the temperature scans like we used to. We're definitely not doing the PCR tests weekly like we were doing, but
then look at schools right now. Your wife's school has had multiple cases that have led to quarantine behavior for any kid associated with that individual.
Right. Well, we've had it come from the students and from the administration, or from the staff. The faculty would be the best word because it covers everyone. But yeah, and these are coming from vaccinated cases.
Yep. And these are middle schoolers who are themselves, for the most part, now able to get the vaccine.
Right.
It's the elementary school kids that have no capability of doing it. So.
Yeah, and it's again, most of the students that my wife covers have gotten their vaccinations, have asked to, and
as Richie is saying, his company went back to full masks and proof of vaccine or tested every 72 hours.
Nice.
If you don't have a vaccine in the district, they're requiring you to get tested.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm a little upset with my company because they aren't doing the mandatory testing for the unvaccinated because they're concerned about HIPAA compliance. Mm-hmm. That, if we come in every day and every 3 days we see this line of people out in front of work waiting to get their PCR tests, well, we're effectively doxing their medical information that, they're unvaccinated.
Cool. They can go to urgent care and get quick tested.
Right. There's ways around it, but my company is trying to do the least effort possible to be compliant, and that least effort leads to, well, we have to set up some other mechanism, or we're just not going to do it.
Yep. Until they get called on it and something happens.
Well, basically, if we have an outbreak, then it's going to happen again.
And they've already passed.
Yeah, they've said
as a
that.
result of it.
Yeah,
so.
they've said as much that if we start seeing cases pop up on site, they're going to reinstitute the weekly PCR.
Yep. So it's unfortunate that it comes to this. And, Richie's in chat here, but, in the Discord and in his chat, his streams, we've had a couple people that have come up and been very anti-mask, pro freedom of choice, they call it, and things like that. And they're upset that some of their businesses and their companies and, districts, whatever, are requiring the vaccine or they get let go. Mm-hmm. And you know what? If you're for freedom of choice, that's the company's choice to make that decision as well. And if you don't want to follow that, that's, your call. That's your choice to not work there anymore.
Right. And I understand. Believe me, I do. I'm not a big proponent on people forcing something onto others, especially when it's untested, whatnot.
Which, by the way, Pfizer got its FDA approval.
Right. But that was, I even had early hesitance back in, the middle of 2020. Like, well, what is this thing that they're cooking up? Oh, it's here. Oh, it's.
Well, we ran a Windows update on you and you were fine.
But again, I understand the initial hesitancy. I was one of them. And then once, I wasn't going to be the first one rushing to the front of the line. That's never going to be me. Call me whatever you want.
But you made certain choices and accepted the consequences for your actions.
Yeah.
And that's what all of this comes down to is there are consequences for certain choices. And, yes, you bring up a very good point of some things are private and, can have an impact. But guess what? I've worked in environments where you have to have a flu shot and proof of that flu shot in order to keep working. Right. There are some environments where an HIV test is necessary. Mm-hmm. And that is...
We're going back into sex work. Yeah.
Well, not just that. Like, there was the whole situation with... this is back in the day. I don't even know if kids these days will know, but Magic Johnson in the NBA. These sort of things have been around for a while. You go to school and you have to have your vaccination record from your doctor in order to even, get into schools in those cases. So to suddenly say that this situation is unique or different is just political. If you make a choice not to do something, it's okay. Well, here are the consequences.
The issue isn't political. It's been politicized. It's right.
Touche. Yes, it has been politicized. The issue itself is not political.
Right. It's always been made. It's always been made an us versus them scenario. And again, this is the running joke that I make with a lot of people going out these days is, the same people that were praising. They were just like, look what President Trump, former now, did with Operation Warp Speed and how he got all of these companies to work together to get this vaccine to the market and get it tested, certified, and safe to use. Mm-hmm. are the same people now that are going, well, they rushed this thing, so we don't even know what's in it, and like it wasn't FDA approved, and it was an emergency use authorization, and it's like, okay, well, pick your side. Like, you were fine with it when your guy was doing it. You're not fine with it when our guy is doing it.
Yeah, well, and that's
and my hesitancy when it first came out had nothing to do with who was running the country at the time.
Yeah, it was, what's the science of it? What's the situation? Right. We didn't see it in action, but at the end of the day, my problem with all this is less to do with the science and more to do with the fact that it's accept responsibility and accountability for your actions.
Sure.
Versus expecting everyone to kowtow to your decision.
Right.
And you can't have it both ways. It's physically impossible, unless you're of some elite group that never has been held accountable. And that is the nature of the,
And those are the people that are making the decisions for all of us.
Right. We've got, how do I say this?
Are you trying to be gentle?
No, I'm trying to put facts in the correct order.
Okay.
But in several of the states, for example, that are pushing the, no mask mandate, it's up to people's decisions, they are in turn requiring, doctors and nurses and other emergency services to treat and, go above and beyond for people that have chosen not to do something.
Right. Yeah, that becomes a whole nother moral proposition, is because you have people that have willingly and knowingly said, I am not going to subscribe to this treatment. It's a hoax. It's whatever. It's not as bad as it is. And then when they become infected and then require emergency care, someone that is coming into an ER with a heart attack is now denied a bed that is currently filled with someone that said, this was all bullshit, and I'm not going to do the thing that's humane.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm going to, stop, because I'm not talking about, I don't want to get into the, triaging people with, one way or another based on their decision. My point is, though, that if you're saying you don't want to take action and force people to, get a vaccine, wear a mask, do something that's for the common good, then you can't turn around and force the people whose job it falls on to take extra measures to counter something that is happening.
Right.
And that's where I fight. That's where I fight back. It's a double-sided conversation. It's everyone else is responsible for your choices and your actions, not necessarily a, choose this versus choose that.
Richie brings up a very, very good point. And as a smoker, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. No, so what Richie is saying, for those that are not seeing it, is, well, smoking is a choice and take away from hospital beds when those who, I can't see it,
who spoke
get cancer. What's the difference?
Oh, when those who smoke get cancer, what's the difference?
The situation is, for a long time, we didn't know what the impact of smoking was.
And then I'm going to counter this. What don't we allow in restaurants anymore?
Right.
Smoking.
But that's why we've made decisions.
What don't we allow in my workplace anymore? Smoking. Right. We've now made it a personal choice.
Yeah.
I can't smoke at Denny's. I can't smoke at my job unless I go into a quarantined area.
Can't smoke at airports anymore.
Can't smoke at airports anymore. Can't smoke on airplanes anymore. Can't do all these things in public anymore. Right? I can't smoke in a lot of public places anymore because I choose to smoke. I am therefore isolated. In fact, it's a running joke in most places I go now that, hey, where's the bad kids club? Right? When I go to a Dodger game and I want to go sneak off and have a cigarette, it's like, okay, where do the bad kids go? I can literally say that. Where do the bad kids go? And they go smoking sections on the third deck at the very end of the stadium.
Yep.
Right? Same thing applies.
Then it comes down to, and I think this is something that was brought up. I think it was in your chat, Richie, also, but, we had a number of car accidents and suddenly legislation came out that we have to wear seatbelts. And seatbelts were installed in all vehicles. If someone doesn't wear a seatbelt, what are the repercussions? Hey, you can drink and then drive.
Right.
But your decision has an impact on someone else.
Right.
If you want to do those things in private on your own time, power to you. As soon as your choices impact someone else who doesn't
have a choice in it,
what you're doing or doesn't have the ability to, react in some way, that's where it starts becoming an issue, because your choices become accountable to someone else's repercussions, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Richie, no worries.
Yeah.
You're free to chat. We actually love it. Let's see, drinking and liver issues. I'm sorry, my eyesight is bad.
Yeah, we need to figure out a better way of doing this. But drinking, liver issues, there are all kind of examples that can be used. But I think the difference is that hospitals are used to and ready for it. With COVID, they are not. Once they become prepared for it, I think things will change. Well, I think it's also a number of statistics. The worst case situation is that you're not going to be immediately hospitalized for a liver issue, for example, with smoking or with drinking rather. That's going to be a longer process that you're seeing doctors. The speed at which COVID is happening and spreading means that everyone is going immediately into ER and ICU capabilities, which means that those services, which are for a much larger and broader audience and population, no longer has the ability to deal with it.
Right.
We as a country,
and we're not even just talking about equipment. We're talking about just physical man hours.
Yeah. And I mean, let's, and this isn't just I think this has been a very good metaphor for what we've talked about in past episodes of where we are as a society. A lot of what our country is built on, what the world was built on for the longest time, was that things take time. A decade could pass before you would see the impacts of your decisions.
Right.
And sometimes it was so far in the future that you never experienced them yourself.
Right.
Now in the common
Speed
age,
of information.
Yeah. With the internet, with technology, with COVID, we are seeing real life impacts in real time. You can go from admitted to the hospital to dead in 10 days with COVID. And that is a shocking speed and progression. But that's also the way disinformation spreads. That's the way our entire society has pivoted. 20 years ago, could you imagine everyone having a, computer smarter or more powerful than what we used to put a man on the moon in our pockets?
Sure. Right.
Did you think that mining Bitcoin would create the same heat profile in a house as, grow lights for weed? So our
probably
ability
about as profitable
as a country, as humanity, to adapt to rapid situations doesn't keep up.
Right.
And we don't have the ability to adapt quicker. So if we go back with the longer term model of how do we prevent as much as possible, and take things appropriately, you have to do it preemptively. Right. Otherwise you suffer as a result of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, with time comes a more tempered approach. When you have all of this information coming at you, it's like, okay, based off this, now I'm here. You're swinging like a fast moving pendulum. Nobody can keep up with that kind of data coming at you. When it came at us slower, it was as things started to, let's bring it back in. You had a much slower cycle.
And Richie, no comment.
Richie, no comment.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Edit point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you want to talk about power consumption in our house between all the gaming computers and...
I don't know what you're talking about. Right. I have internet speed here and a $2,000 every other month water and power bill. Because not only are there 3 of us plus the kid, plus you and your wife and your 2 kids, all on some sort of streaming device at every point. Yeah.
I would actually say it's more the daily use of the small heated pond in the backyard.
Yes, there's
that is
that.
the majority
but that's gas,
of that.
And that comes...
Oh, no. The pump is electric.
Pump is electric. That's true. And, topping off water. And by small pond, he means our swimming pool.
Yeah.
But there's that. So, anything else we want to talk about in life before we move on?
Oh, we weren't talking about life just now?
We are talking about life, but was there more?
Did you hear what happened last night on my stream? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but that's hilarious.
You know what? That
Richie
makes...
just picked up a 3080 that arrived yesterday and installed it. Mm-hmm. And he installed it and the fans didn't work. He was having sound issues, things like that. And it's, I think a lot of it had to do with the power supply and UPS. And he had to manually turn on the fans and it dropped it from 49 Celsius to 29 Celsius? Something like that.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. I get it. Trust me, dude.
This is why I overbuilt when I put my system together. Like, do you want the 750 power supply or the 850? I'm like, no, give me the 1K.
Yeah, I think I have a 1K also, but yeah. Yep, Arc in 4K and 120 FPS. Nice. It's incredible. Yeah, I have a 3090, and that's what I was playing when testing with.
Yeah,
you got a 3070?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the power consumption on these things is just brutal.
Well, that's why we're banning it in California, apparently, but that's another story for another time.
No, I mean, and it's a pain point, but it's not so much now that the wife is back in school. She'd be teaching, and it's like I come home, and my computer's still on, her computer's on, all the monitors are on. I'm just going, holy shit! This is basically 3,000 watt light bulbs just turned on the entire day.
Yeah. No, I've purposely been going around like everyone leaves in the morning. I'm like, oh, goodbye. Have a great day. Go around and turn off the TV, turn off lights.
Turn off all the phantom power stuff.
Turn off the overall AC and just use my swamp cooler when it's not 100 plus degrees outside. So, yeah. What else in the life topic?
Talked about PAX coming up. I'll be at PAX. Richie, if you're at PAX, come say hi. Give me a hug. If you're not at PAX, then some other time.
PAX West is next weekend.
Next weekend.
In Seattle. I don't know. Should we talk gaming?
Yeah, definitely.
For those that follow, it might be a sloppy kiss versus a hug.
I'm down for that.
Yes, he is actually. We'll tell stories another time.
Yeah, there have been many people that have tried to make me uncomfortable in my masculinity by coming up and laying wet, sloppy kisses on me. Like, you do you, boo.
Dude, you tried to make out with me on my wedding night. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lies and slander.
All right, gaming news for those that follow, and for those in the Destiny community. We just had a major announcement of the last season for this current year.
Season of the crossplay, yes.
Season of the crossplay, and the teaser trailer and announcement for the next major expansion. The Witch Queen.
Witch Old Witch? The Witchy Witch?
Yeah, and Salvathoon's kind of a badass. 21 feet tall, something like that.
Made of stone. I can jump on her head with my warlock jump. She's not that bad.
But I like the direction they've gone with it, and I like what changes they've made overall. Crossplay is huge. Now, regardless of platform, you can play together. And that's a huge hurdle to have overcome. We're just now starting to see other games do it. But I want to say like it was Fortnite. That was originally the major, cross-play. Rocket League. And some more gaming news from Richie. Insurgency Sandstorm is coming to PlayStation and Xbox September 29th.
I'm not familiar with the title.
It's considered a first-person shooter similar to like a Call of Duty or Ghost Recon. But with Insurgency Sandstorm, you can actually have bots playing as the other team, and it's objective-based.
Okay.
But pretty intense, not going to lie. And Richie's a partner for the studio, and we in the Dog Pound community actually run the our own server for it.
Nice.
And so they've got a new survival mode that came out recently. That's pretty much like capture the flag, but you have to survive.
Yay.
And as you pick up new,
Why is capture the flag such a taboo thing with like gameplay modes these days?
Yeah,
really irritates me. Like I've been asking, I like hoping at some point in time Destiny would bring back the mode.
yeah.
Like
Well,
even
you need to
Halo,
get you in there at some point.
yeah, even Halo at this point is like, oh no, it's not really capture the flag, but it's kind of capture. It's like, no, just bring back capture the flag. It's again one of the purest objective-based game modes.
Yep. So we've got a couple of those mechanics in there, and it's a good group overall. I'd say Richie manages to get, I think the largest is 12 community members in at the same time at this point.
On Insurgency?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, if we're allowed to broadcast it, I would love to, maybe work something together. Yeah. I don't know if there's NDAs involved with being
Well, no, it's out. The game's out. It's released.
Okay.
It's out there. It's just being, it's on PC now, and it's moving to PlayStation and Xbox. So a lot more.
You know what else just came to Xbox?
What just came to Xbox?
Quake. In its original form.
Nice.
Including the soundtrack. I was actually, I saw an article for it. I'm like, no, this can't be real. And cloud streamed it to my phone in my car just to hear the soundtrack. I was like,
Nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, and this news was announced in their Discord last week, so it's public.
Okay.
So there we go. No NDA.
Nice.
So we've got that. We've got here, the Dog Pound community has launched a 7 Days to Die server.
Right, that I saw you.
Server.
Yeah.
That I've been playing on pretty heavily because that's one of my go-to games.
I think I saw you like force kicking the thing into action the other day.
Yeah, we were having some trouble with it. I set up 3 servers. So Richie has 3 or 4 at this point dedicated hardware servers that we've put multiple game servers on. And I set up the Insurgency server and 2 7 Days to Die servers on it.
Nice.
And each time I missed one little thing of why it wouldn't work. The first one, Insurgency, came down to, running it as admin. Everything else was perfectly fine. The streaming one came down to not allowing it to fully render the new map.
Right.
When it was, RNG. And the third time, I accidentally put the same port as the Insurgency server. As soon as I changed the port, it magically worked fine.
Dumb.
Yeah, so this is why you can't have nice things.
No, one out of 3 was actually your fault.
Right.
So
yeah, there's that. So that's some gaming news there.
The whole Destiny thing. They tied a very awkward bow on the last season and really opened a lot of doors this season. And we already know this particular one is going to be long because they've delayed the release of.
Yeah, they've already told us this season goes to February 2nd, 2022.
Right.
Which I love the fact that it's 2-2-2-2.
2-2-2-2, right? It was like, hey, we can get it to February 18th, and but no, 2-2-2-2. Okay, let's just push it to that. Yeah. We're fine. But yeah, they know this season's running long, so they've been pushing this really weird, a really good narrative, and they've been setting up the story to trickle out at a good pace. And this is something that I think Bungie has gotten really good at over this last year, is setting the pace to make the game episodic, a week to week venture, that you don't have to invest your entire life into to keep up on.
Yeah. And what I think Blizzard's done that a lot of studios used to do in the past and kind of, I want to say, lost their way with this instant gratification push is Bungie is damn good at storytelling.
Right.
And they're willing to take risks and chances with it and grow from their mistakes. And I think that has enabled them to push forward.
There was a big argument going years back into the history of this franchise. It kind of rings true in a lot of games. Is you can release a season and give everything up front, and you consume it at your pace. If you can consume the whole thing in 3 days, that's on you. You're capable of doing it. We're not going to update it for another 3 months.
Right. But what they've done, and this is very Blizzard back in the day, I think they still do it now, but I'm not as engaged with it, I would say, is they tell the story and have the impacts have meaning.
Right.
It's what's called a theme park story.
Right.
And the fact that it's predefined, it's pre-written, and your actions don't necessarily mean anything to it. Because as long as one of the players succeeds in it, they've unlocked the next step.
Right.
And that's very, once you control it, the narrative that way, you end up being able to tell a much more formal and structured story. And I think that's one of the things they definitely have going for them there.
Right.
But what's going to start being interesting,
when they switched to this weekly model, my biggest concern was, well, how do they divide up that 3 months worth of time? Is it going to require me to take 4 hours, 8 hours a week to then consume that story? And then if you miss that, the first iteration of this when they did that, it's like, if you missed a week, well, then you just can't do the next week until you've lost a week of time.
Right.
Right. So if I missed it by an hour, well, next week you just get you have the whole week to finish up that hour, and then the following week you can be a week behind.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole season.
What I think will be interesting, though, and this will be a true testament to what they're capable of doing now that it's multi-platform, so it means they can kind of control things in one story environment. Your choices are going to start mattering. So more than a couple, several seasons ago, you had the choice of siding with, the Drifter versus the Vanguard. Those decisions are going to start ramping out into something that we may not see this season or even this next expansion.
Right.
But all that storytelling has gone into where the story is driving now. And there's going to come a point, I think, where they're going to hold you to those decisions.
I hope so.
And that'll be huge.
Well, this is, what was it? EVE Online? What was the... There was a game where you picked a faction. And they were hoping that it would...
factions would make a decision?
Yeah, the factions would... They thought it would naturally work out to about a 50-50 split, and it just got to the point where it was like, no, everyone played for the Horde and nobody cared about... Right? Everyone played for the evil side. No one cared about the good side, and the game basically flopped because of it.
Right.
So let's hope it's not that heavy-handed. I see that, Richie thanked you for all of your...
He did. I'm looking because it just ended up showing we were disconnected and buffering. But the feed is still going live, so...
Yeah, it happens. I'm on a Wi-Fi. That's the only reason I set up that window, is just to maybe monitor, make sure we didn't go completely dead.
Yep.
But yeah, like, it's narrative choices are going to make a difference now.
It'll be nice. So
Richie says we never lost connection.
Never lost connection for you. Cool.
Good.
Right.
But yeah, like they have a good pace now that I can consume the key story mission. 2 to 4 hours time. And I think that's anything less than that. And it's disrespectful to people that are hardcore into the game and catering too much to the dad gamer.
The filthy casual is
right. That's the dirtiest of the casuals. Like, oh, I log in for a half an hour a day and I expect the entire story done in that time. No, I understand.
Well, and this is something that, about that argument, and I'm going to pull out my soapbox. Mm-hmm. Destiny is designed for a hardcore crowd.
I disagree.
There are certain aspects of the game that have a very low barrier to entry.
Well, see, that's where I push back on it is, yes, you can get into the game real easy, but if you want to actually experience it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's designed for people that can commit far more time and energy than a typical casual. Can a casual player get into it and do something with it?
I think and I think the problem has always been defining what do you consider a casual versus a hardcore. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to think that I'm probably on the bottom rung of what you should be considering a casual. Mm-hmm. Right? I can dedicate 4 to 8 hours a week to gaming, not just a franchise, to gaming in general.
Period. Yep.
Period. If your week-to-week content is going to take more than 8 hours to consume, you're disrespecting someone that, you're disrespecting someone that's casual but dedicated enough.
Yeah. Then you get the flip side of people, and I'm going to use the example Richie had on his stream yesterday. One of the community members on ARC that we have literally has this massive breeding operation going that easily over the limit of dinosaurs out at any one time. So I can only imagine what the memory usage is at any point. But this guy had a machine pumping out to, do mutations and color selections and things like that on different dinosaurs that were ridiculous. Just the size of the base he built would take me.
But he did this with the normal parameters, right? This wasn't a modified server that's like, no, you're an admin, you can just spawn things at will.
He did this through the normal process. But this is someone who was able to spend 99% of his time on it. And then, if I spend 8 hours a week on it, I'm lucky if I built a structure on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a single foundation and a character that I spent, a couple hours on, but I'm not able to devote the time to do anything worthwhile.
Right.
So in that time, I'm going to play other games and other activities and, support in the back end.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend, Skycap, our buddy Mike, that, the game, the last release of just whacking into shit, dropped on Tuesday. By Thursday, he was already maxed out, done with the story, done with all the side adventures, and
on 3 separate characters,
right? On 3 separate characters, and is still running Sea of Thieves content on a regular basis. Like he's maining 4 games at this point.
Yep, and
still capped out.
Yep,
right. That's not the person that's allowed to complain about content being dull.
Right. I got through it too quickly. There needs to be more.
Right.
Okay. No. Like, I think one of the best examples I've ever heard was Dr. Lupo. He's like, I don't play Destiny 2 regularly. Why? Because with the amount of time that I can put into it, I get through the game way too quickly.
Yep.
So I will go back to it from time to time and be able to do a significant amount with it, and I'm good.
Well, he just did this. He just did this Intel playthrough, right? Yeah. The Intel Days playthrough.
Let's give context on that. There was GameCon or
Gamescom? Yeah,
yeah. Intel Showcase. He basically, Dr. Lupo was on behalf of Intel and did a raid.
Did the Deepstone Crypt? Yeah, Deepstone Crypt
with a live
40-piece
orchestra doing the orchestration from the game in real time while he was playing, and that was pretty damn impressive.
Right. Now, this was done 2 days ago or 3 days ago. he was already max light.
Yeah.
He was already sitting at 1330.
Yeah, and there definitely wasn't a recov. He does it himself.
Yeah, he doesn't stream the game. Yeah, Bungie's not going, here's a random, look, we're just going to give you everything you want character. No, he's earned that.
Yep. And props to him for playing. You know, that's a great thing for him. And he jumps into other things. He likes the Battle Royale type games now because a lot of people are interested in them. And
it's good content for him.
Yeah, and it's not a whole lot of investment in that regard. Like, it's a 30-minute segment. If he decides to do another one, great. If he decides to move on to something else, great.
Right.
Like, yeah, he builds up stuff over time, but, you know, his escape from Tarkov gameplay has very little to do with, you know, the fact that he's Dr. Lupo and he can snipe. It's the, you know, banter and communication and the stuff he does with other streamers while, you know, they're grouping.
Right.
And, you know, that's the content. It just so happens he's doing this gameplay that's, you know, certainly above average in the background. You know, as he calls it, average gamer.
Mediocre gameplay.
Mediocre gameplay, yeah.
Yeah, he's always said it takes three things to be a successful streamer, and one of it is skill. Mm-hmm. You've got to be good at the games you play. 2 is personality. You've got to be, you know, really entertaining. Mm-hmm. And those two, and he says those two are interchangeable. You can be 1,000 on personality and 0 on gameplay and be fine, or 1,000 on gameplay and 0 on personality being fine. But the third aspect of that is luck.
Yep.
Right. And my wife and I were actually chuckling about that today because I showed her this thing. He's like, here's Dr. Lupo playing in front of a 40-piece orchestra for Intel, playing Destiny. That's not even his main game on his stream.
Yeah.
And her and I are just going, God, I remember when he didn't even stream.
Yeah. We all met Dr. Lupo when I think he was just part of a team of someone else who happened to be a streamer.
Our buddy Ninja with Noel that my friend Kinsbane was a mod for. And
friend of a friend.
Yeah, Mons was a mod for.
Yep. Carried us through some Destiny 1 content. Mm-hmm. And he blew up from there.
Well,
and
it was
it was a lot of hard work and things
Ninja
like
with
that.
Noel ended up going to college. Yeah. And the dorm Wi-Fi or the dorm internet couldn't support streaming. So Dr. Lupo took over as the main streaming arm of
that
just trials carries. Yeah, basically just trials carries. And then kind of like between the two of them built a name off of that. And then, you know, when Destiny 2 came out and the game basically died, he started branching out into other things and got I think it was Tarkov.
Well, Tarkov is where he's at now, but I mean, Fortnite he was in for a while.
Well, no, like when I guess he had the interaction with Ninja, the original, like the
interaction with
Ninja,
I believe, was in Destiny.
No, I think it was Tarkov. It was a grenade because he even says it. It was a
grenade, but I think it was
threw it up over
PUBG maybe.
PUBG, there you go. That's the one. Yeah, it was PUBG, and he just got off well, crap, I'm going to die anyways. Cook this grenade and throw it, and on Ninja's screen, pops up, explodes, kills him, and Lupo is left critical, but survives it. And then between the two chats, right, between their two communities, like, oh my God, that really just happened, and caused those two to meet.
Yeah.
And then a good marketing marriage was born and has blown him up.
Literally with a grenade.
Yeah. No, like he's like, again, it's amazing. It's because that's 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
And we played with him back in D1, which was at this point six years ago.
6 years ago, he was a screen name.
Yeah.
Now he's a brand name.
Speaking of brands, should we let people in on some of the work and excitement we've got going on?
Yeah. We did say big things were coming. We actually, we're probably a good chunk of the way through our redesign with, you've got a website redesign coming.
Yeah, website redesign that we're working on in tangent with, stream redesign, some YouTube redesigns work.
Right.
some socials work that we're doing, a number of new series and content that we're putting together.
Yep.
So everything from, us crazy gamer dads to all the other crazy gamer dads out there that could be part of the community and want to do stuff. So yeah, we're here to share our wisdom.
We're putting together the finals, I think, at this point of the redesign for this stream.
Yep.
With Dizzy DLO.
Yep. By the time, maybe not this episode, but the next episode after this goes live, we should have brand new content for it.
Yep.
Brand new look, brand new, layout, everything.
Yeah. So stay tuned and remember to hit that follow and like button below. Or there we
right
go.
That way?
The TikTok.
That
if we
way?
put this on TikTok, it's going to be right there.
That way. Go Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and for those of you that are old enough to get that reference.
You know what? I made a Silverhawks reference in a conversation today, and I got a bunch of cry emojis from a bunch of old dads.
Uh-huh. It's true. I've been having a lot of conversations lately about 80s stuff that people are like, oh, I get that reference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I understand that reference. Yes.
But with that, I think this is a good place to start winding down.
Yeah, and I got to start getting ready for a baseball game that I'm going to be leaving for in 40 minutes.
Oh, good. So
yay!
We'll do that other video another time. Yes, he's playing with his soundboard still. Yes, he's going to a Dodger game.
We don't stop until the
job's done.
To quote Dizzy, I hate it here. And with that, from episode 30 of the Whiskey Podcast, I'm Chudata.
I am Nate Fu.
And we are out of here.